Hi guys, uh, it's Sasha, and I just finished watching the Wolverine. When I first heard about this movie, I really wasn't sure I would like it, but I actually did like it. It it had a lot. It was fairly, I mean, not fairly. It was different. Um, it let's see, it opens with a scene where Logan is in Japan during the Second World War, actually during the surrender of the Japanese during the Second World War. And there's a scene where there's a village that's being bombed, and there's a bunch of prisoners who are being released. Like the soldiers are like uh, they're they are releasing the soldiers and telling them to flee, 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 run, 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 try to escape off the island or whatever this is. I mean, out of the village. And there's this, and when some of these soldiers do that, some of the Japanese guards actually commit uh, ritual suicide rather than try to why because they think they won't survive this big explosion and things. Um, and there's this one soldier who, along with letting go of these other prisoners, goes to this like well that's shut up, that has a hatch and is enclosed, and Wolverine's in there. And he's like, "Come on, go, get up. You gotta go. You gotta leave." And and Logan's like, "I don't think so, bub," because he knows what's coming. And uh, he's like, "Come on, jump in," because he knows that there's a big explosion coming and everything's gonna go to hell, which it does. But so the guy jumps in. He The soldier jumps in, and Logan grabs, and as the fireball's hitting, Logan grabs the hatch, puts it like behind the soldier, and basically holds on to it to protect the soldier. Well, Logan is basically being incinerated alive, but yeah, you know what? As the type of mutant he is, he does survive. Um, and that's the opener. That's not the whole movie, but as you learn, um, it was a kind of a somewhere between a dream and a memory. And when he wakes up, he's in like a I think like a cave or something. Yeah, a cave. He's in a cave, and it's present day, and he's like all scruffy with long hair and long beard, and not long beard, but say big. And you know, like, who's Grizzly Adams basically. Um, and let's see, and he's he's like just trying to live a life day to day, day by day, not just like holding on to a job or anything like that, but just living off the land, quite literally, except for maybe when he needs batteries for his clock. And uh, there's a scene fairly early in the movie where he, well, I mean, just after the dream, he comes across this bear, and the bear's like, but fairly not a little bit later, he ends up finding the bear shot with a poison dart and slowly dying. And what he does, he takes his claws and sticks it in the bear. It basically ends the bear's suffering. And he goes to like the local bar to find these guys who did this. Finds this one guy because this bear went nuts and killed a bunch of people and killed a bunch of not people, well, people, but hunters. And this one guy is like these two guys are like the two survivors, and he sticks this poison dart arrow in the guy's hand because he knew two things. One, the poison is like a slow death and it would make a bear crazy. Two, what they did was illegal because you're not supposed to use poison darts when you hunt bears, which makes sense. I didn't know, but it makes sense. And after that, he comes across Yukio, a girl who can see somewhat of the future, but not everyone's future, just a certain point. And she tells him that her master, someone he knew in Japan, wants to see him. And he's like, I'm not going to Tokyo. And she's like, you have to go. It would be dishonorable if you don't. He's like, I'll go. He's like, I'll go. I'll go one day. And actually, I know a couple shots later, you see them getting on the plane, and she says it's 14 hours to Tokyo in good weather. And he's like, ugh. And so they go to Tokyo, and he comes across the granddaughter. He's like, he can't see her grandfather looking like he's looking like a giant caveman. So they clean him all up and all this mess. And it's there where he like talks to the grandfather, or yeah, the former soldier, and and the soldier and the grandfather slash soldier. He, to me, he seemed he was hiding something, even though it was really intelligent. The way he looked, the way he sounded, just I'm like, okay. The female doctor, the one blonde in the whole room, like, I'm not sure I trust her. Even before I found out what she was as the movie progressed. But yeah. And then he like gets properly introduced to the granddaughter and somewhat introduced to the grandson or the father. I'm not sure what that kid was. I think that one kid they showed in the fighting scene, the training scene, was the the former sweetheart, I think. Um, and then and then as the movie progresses, you have a whole thing with the yakuza, and the girl gets kidnapped, and and there's a thing with the silver samurai, and all of a sudden I knew what this reminded me of. I knew what nearly the whole movie reminded me of an old X-Men comic, not comic, X-Men cartoon. And I'm like, okay, I know what they base this off of, pretty much. And there's a character, well, actually, spoiler, but there is this one character um who played the Doctor, who turned out to be like kind of like the ultimate bad guy. There's a couple different bad guys in this, um, but it kind of like you don't know who's who until like near the end of the movie. and I found that it wasn't as convoluted as some movies, some superhero movies I've seen. So, but it was good, and the ending, as usual, bittersweet. But what do you expect? With these characters, you don't technically get a happy ever after. So, uh, and there's a scene that's just before you get the full credits that kind of hints at a sequel. I don't know if we'll ever get it, but you have to watch it to understand what I'm talking about. But I actually like that scene a whole lot better than even the ending of the actual movie. um, yeah, I would. Well, would I own this movie? Probably just to complete my collection. Oh God, yeah, yeah. I probably would get this movie just to complete everything. Cause I do like the X Men movies. I've never really read the comics, and the only thing besides these movies that I've seen that I actually liked was the cartoon. Um, so yeah, I did enjoy this. I would maybe see it again, but not right away. Uh, and the real reason I actually picked the DVD out was because a couple days ago the movie was on TV, but it was on like a cable channel that has a lot of commercials, and I hate that's one thing I hate is watching a movie with a lot of commercials because they cut a lot of things out. Not to mention a lot of the dialogue because of swearing, or switch dialogue because of swearing. Um, but yeah, I would probably give this movie uh maybe a B. I mean, it was. I mean, there were certain parts that was like really, really, but other than that, I would I would say it's probably a solid B minus. Uh, but yeah, that's my thought. Those are my thoughts on the Wolverine. Uh, talk to you later. Bye.